Hello and welcome to the Spiritual Solopreneur podcast. Today, my guest is Beth Villani. Tara is an intuitive astrologer and energy healer. Tara took a journey of self-discovery that included a deep dive into her own astrological chart and empowered her own transformation and found her way back to her own soul self. Using a heart-centered approach, along with wisdom, intuition, and passion, she connects and guides her clients back to their soul self according to their astrological energies. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Beth. Thank
Oh,
you so much for that wonderful
I
introduction.
just hope I didn't botch it too much.
No, not at all. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I truly appreciate you having me on.
I'm very grateful to have you here, and I'm excited to talk to you about astrology. And I want to get into your own journey and that kind of thing. But first, maybe I thought maybe we just go back to basics. And if you can kind of give me a précis of what's astrology, how does it work, and why is it important for us to know about it for our lives going forward?
Sure, absolutely. So, astrology is the study of the planets and how it affects us as a collective here on the planet, but also individually. So, people are most familiar with astrology through your sun sign horoscope. So, whether if you were born in April or the beginning of April, you have an Aries sun. May is Taurus, and so on. So that's where people usually begin, which that's just a very general aspect of astrology. Astrology really is the study of the energetics and the themes of each planet, the sign they're in. When you see your astrological chart, you see the houses that these planets are in. The houses represent areas, different areas of life. So it is a great way to look at yourself and your own energy and how you express those energies by your personal natal chart, but also through what's currently the current transits. So the weather report, in other words, what's happening up in the cosmos and the sky and how that's affecting us right here and now, all plays a factor in what plays out. And it's just really very interesting. And you really take a deep dive into knowing yourself even more and how you work with the energies that are currently happening. So it's like, oh, where are the planets today? Do I need an umbrella? Is it going to be raining out? Do I need a sweater? Is it going to be windy? So that kind of thing, and learning how
Energetically
to
speaking,
navigate. Exactly. Energetically speaking.
not
Uh,
literally.
no, not literally. Although there are different types of astrology that can help you like plan different events in your life called orrery. So if you're planning on having a surgery or something of that nature, there's that orrery astrology, which gets you down to the exact minute of an ideal time to do certain things. That is not my specialty. However, there are many astrologers out there that do practice that. There's also something called medical astrology, which based on your personal planets that can tell you if you're susceptible to certain diseases or ailments and things of that nature. That also is not my specialty. My specialty, however, is bringing you back to your soul wisdom and really understanding your energetic tool belt, so to speak, and what you came here to work with and how to grow and evolve and develop on the planet and in this life, and to be able to use the energies that you're equipped with and it's to its highest potential.
Gotcha. That's That's very fascinating. And so at the you always ask for birth information, so it's the date, time, location you were born, and so you sort of take a snapshot, I guess, of what was going on in the sky at that time. So you kind of alluded to, but my question is, do you think that this is sort of a pre-birth decision? Is this part of the things that we literally decide, our souls decide this is this is the type of thing we want to experience in this life, and it obviously includes our soul family and the roles and who's going to do what and that kind of thing. But is would this placement of the stars and the planets and so on be part of that, or what's your opinion?
Absolutely. I feel that we decided what lessons, particular lessons or life themes, we wanted to work through on a soul level to be able to evolve and level up, to release any karmic ties, um, learn any particular lessons that would help us evolve and get to have a more intimate relationship with ourselves, also to have new parts of ourselves emerge, and just overall healing and evolution, soul evolution. So yes, absolutely.
Very cool. And how did you get started in this? How did you decide that doing the astrological readings is your calling?
So I didn't realize it at first, but because I'm also an energy healer, part of our homework to become certified was to experience different types of modalities. And so during that process, shamanism was on the list. And the particular shaman that I decided to contact, she's the one that introduced me to my natal chart. And so that's where it all began. And I found it so fascinating and interesting how, she was able to tell me different aspects of myself that I was like, how do you even, how do you even know? Right.
Yeah.
Just by looking at your natal chart. And so then I just decided to do an extreme deep dive, like you had expressed in the intro, into myself and my energy and that part of myself, because it was something that I never explored before. And so I have just transformed myself and let go of any particular masks. We all wear certain masks or play certain roles, like you had said earlier, that are what's quote unquote expected of us or that we're conditioned to be in. And that is not how we're meant to operate. We're meant to operate from who we really are. And it's a matter of acceptance and coming to accept who you really are, coming to accept those around you and who they really are, and to let go of all the false things that or roles that we play that really aren't doing us any good. So it's really an incredible journey into self and a lot of healing that happens on that journey. And I just found it to be so extremely valuable for me in helping me to transform my life and living more authentically and being able to heal a lot of stuff. Going through this journey and this exploration isn't always easy. And so, but ultimately, it brought me back to me, who I really am, and everything always balanced out. So it is my passion to help people. Like I'm their tour guide, basically, the tour guide of their energetic blueprint, their life story, and I want to be able to help them to navigate in a way, and have that support along the way. So that is my ultimate goal, to be able to assist people on this journey, because you need help, you know?
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. And to me, it's like something that everybody should do as early as possible because, speaking for myself, you did mine. And I could see, I could see it's there black and white in front of me where all my stuff is, where, as it turned out, all my major sun sign stuff, for lack of a better word, because I don't know the terminology, but was in the creative pursuit area, basically, right? And that was very affirming for me because there was a time where I could have gone a different direction and that there would have been good reasons to go that direction, but it was kind of like, no, I can't. I just couldn't. I had to go the more, creative pursuit type of work direction. And so I could see from the chart, oh, well, that explains that. It was pretty obvious. If I should have, done it many years ago, I would have at least known that's what I came here for. And then the other influences that are there that kind of try to get in the way, all the self-doubt and that sort of thing, that stuff is all there too, right? So it's quite an eye-opening experience. So for anybody who wants to, find out for sure why they came here, it's really great as a sort of life purpose affirmation experience.
Yes, absolutely. And it really helps you to honor who you are, and not, and to let go of the guilt of who you are not. So it's kind of like, if you've been operating in one mode of, in one way your whole life, but it really is not how you're meant to operate. It's about having forgiveness and being able to you know, decondition yourself, and, go along the path of how your energy is meant to express itself. And then you find that things really start to unfold a whole lot more easily than if you were operating not in alignment with your energy. So it's almost like you wouldn't take a saw to hammer in a nail type of thing, and then get really upset because why isn't this nail going into the wall? I'm using it's like you're using the wrong thing. That's not what it's made for. So it's like we
Exactly.
and it gets and we get frustrated and angry, and we think, why isn't this working? It's because we're working against ourselves. That's not how our energy is meant to flow and to be. But once you get into alignment, it's just like, oh, things just start happening and unfolding. And in the beginning, when you're first learning and using it, it's a definite learning curve, and it just takes time to get used to operating. And there's healing and letting go all along the way. And there might be some difficulty in the beginning, but as time goes on, it just gets easier and you get into a rhythm.
Mhm.
So I hope that's helpful for
Absolutely.
people.
For sure. For sure. Just wanted to go back to the mechanics for a moment. So you mentioned the horoscopes, the tabloids and the magazines that
Right.
you pick up at the grocery store give you your so-called horoscope. Is there any way that those things could be in the least accurate for even though it's only for a little time frame, like a month or something like that? It's, because it's only one aspect.
Yes, well, it's also very general and can be vague.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so for example, if you have a Virgo sun, not every Virgo sun is going to operate in the same manner because there are other factors to consider. So you have to factor in, okay, is it an aspect to any other planet, any other personal planet or outer planet in that person's chart? Which aspect means communication wise. So whether we talk about aspects in astrology, it basically means the communication, the types of communication that the planets are having with each other. So some of them are more easy flow. Some of them it's more of a challenge. Some of them it feels like opposing, so you go back and forth between the two energies. And then also, like I discussed earlier, it depends what the house placement is. So where, yes, in general there'll be a general guide as to the sun sign and these horoscopes, but I feel it's just too general.
Right. Right. It doesn't really do you any good because it's not related to you specifically.
Right. It's not as specific.
Hmm.
And so, you take it with a grain of salt. I mean, if it resonates for you, great.
Yeah.
If you feel, oh, yeah, this is exactly what's happening right now,
Yeah.
then great. If you feel, no, this isn't happening, it's about honoring that, and not saying, well, why isn't that happening to me? They said that was, supposed to happen, or this was supposed to play out this way, right? And so, you just have to see how it feels.
Yeah, exactly. So there's the sun sign, the three big signs are the sun sign, the moon sign, and the rising. So
Correct.
give me just a précis, what do those govern?
So your sun, that is your core essence. It's your life force. It's what's called the ego. It's how you're meant to shine in the world. That's, if you think about the sun in our solar system, it's the brightest star in the sky. So it illuminates and shines a light on everything. So that is like your core essence and your core operating mode of operation. So your moon, on the other hand, is very reflective. It comes out at night, so it's private. It's our emotional nature. And when we think about the moon and the tides, how it works with the tides, how it ebbs and flows, and how it changes signs the most often, right? If you think about a month, that's based on a moon cycle, right? So it changes signs so frequently, it usually stays in a sign for a few days. So your moon can sign is your emotional needs. It's where you go to at the end of the day. It's also your intuition, your sense of inner security, and how you operate on a daily basis. So those that know you best know you by your moon sign.
Ah,
So, yes, because it's more of a private energy and it's how you emotionally share with another. So, and then your rising sign. So, when you have your circular chart, the rising sign is in the front on the left, and that is where the constellation that was rising on the eastern horizon the moment you were born. So your rising sign is your first impressions of that people, when they first meet you, how you come off, but also it's what's rising within you. So if you think about the east, that's the sunrise, so that's the start of the day, right? So it's rising within you, that particular energy.
okay. That's very cool. Um, this is just something I'm curious about when you do the charts, the natal charts, is there a database somewhere or something that lets you know where the planets were at that moment? Or is there a formula that you use to figure out, what the snapshot was?
Yes, I have my own program that I
Oh,
use, but people who don't have this particular program, they can go to astro.com and they can get their free chart and put in their birth details, so they have it on hand.
oh,
But I have my own because I use it for a lot of different things and I'm always on it and looking, and I can, print charts and look however much into the future I want to, or in the past if I want to. And so it's handy as an astrologer to have that kind of thing.
that's very cool. Did you write it yourself, the program?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no. This is a
it's something.
software that you can purchase. Yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very cool. So speaking of the sun, we've been talking about the sun quite a bit. There's at this time that we're talking, there's going to be a solar eclipse coming in a couple of days from now. Um, what is the effect of that going to be? And I think you have a story already to tell us about it, but I'll leave that to you. But and I guess what is the relationship between a solar eclipse and astrology, and how is that going to affect us in general?
So, a solar eclipse in general is when the moon and the sun are together, and it's when the moon is in front of the sun. And so it has, I mean, a wide effect. I mean, throughout the United States, we're preparing along the path of totality, going from like Mexico, up through Texas and up to Maine, to be able to see it. So it's a phenomenon, and this is going to be a total solar eclipse. So that means there's going to be darkness during the day. And so that's a complete reset. So there's some partials. There have been partial eclipse, but this is a total. So it's almost like if you have your computer, you don't shut it down. You don't go and turn it off or anything. It's like the plugs being ripped
Mm,
out of the socket, right? So it's a complete and total reset. So how that affects us on an individual level is going to be different for every person because of where the eclipse is happening in your personal natal chart, whether it's an aspect to any planets, your natal planets, or again in the different houses, areas of life, how that is affected. But also as a collective, we're going to be feeling it because it's something we're experiencing all together. And particularly here in the United States, since it's along the path of totality, um, there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be happening in our country. So, what they are specifically, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but an eclipse is going to, it's basically like hitting the reset button.
mm, interesting. So it's going to have long-term effects. It's not just for the time that the moon is in front of the sun.
Correct. So, this is energy. So, it's like, it's akin to like if you're running a race, um, a track, you're at a track meet, right? And all of the runners are lined up at the starting line, and then the gun goes off. So figure the eclipse is the gun going off, and then the race happens and everything's going on, right? So that is just like the ignition point of the energy and how it unfolds. So it's going to last for the next year, the effects of this eclipse.
Wow. How often does a total eclipse happen?
Oh gosh. Um, I'm not that I don't know. It also depends on, where you are on the planet.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I was just curious because
yeah,
I didn't realize that it was such a big thing because of it being total this time. So it's really an energetic reset.
yeah,
So things are going
yes.
to be shaken up, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
possibly, collectively
Yes.
and otherwise.
Well, things are
Interesting.
going to be shifting, most definitely. And because this solar eclipse is in Aries, Aries by nature is all about the self and your sense of self. So, and the fact that the sun and the moon are exact conjunction to Chiron, which is an asteroid. Chiron is called the wounded healer. So Chiron in mythology was the centaur that was shunned, but then came in, was adopted and healed, but healed alternatively. And so it's about our individual healing journey up until this point, um, and how that has affected our sense of self and what new parts of ourselves are emerging since this is a new moon solar eclipse. It's like new parts of ourselves are going to be emerging and healing. And it's something to me that feels exciting, to be able to have new parts of ourselves emerge, even on a collective level. But, there is loss of the old way of being. And so that has to be acknowledged as well. And so there's going to be this push pull between the old and the new. And to be honoring that process and that it doesn't happen overnight. And, to really accept what was and be in compassion with our to ourselves and to others as we all navigate this new terrain, right?
Mhm.
So Aries is that also that's it's springtime here in the northern hemisphere. There's new growth and we want to be able to protect it and, water it, nurture it, give it what it needs. So those new parts of ourselves that are emerging to nurture that.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's a big thing.
It
This is a
is.
big thing. Wow. Well, we shall see. We shall see how it transpires. And for people listening in to the future after it's happened, let us know if we're right um, in the comments. I also wanted to ask you about, Mercury retrograde. So this thing happens quite often, I guess, 3, 4 times a year or something. Seems to go on forever. And there's always some, I don't know why, but it seems to affect technological glitches. What is that all about?
So, yes, Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is how we think and how we communicate, it's how we learn. So it has to do with that communicative nature. So when we think about technology, we think about the emails or the texts, or why isn't my phone working? I'm trying to call so and so. Why isn't this call going through? There's can be a block in communication or a delay. So on an individual level, Mercury retrograde really allows us the time to rethink things, rework things before moving it forward. So anytime there's a Mercury retrograde, which lasts about 3 weeks or so, um, it's a wonderful time to go over things that you've begun. Okay, is this moving in the direction that I want it to? Do I need to say this in a different way? How am I thinking about this? Can I think about it differently? And it's a wonderful time to reflect the RE words. So retrograde, RE, rework, rethink, reevaluate, reflect on different areas in our life and how we can improve the way we communicate. But yes, there are some technical glitches that come in there. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise that that email didn't get sent if you were upset or frustrated about something, right? So that you can have time to look it over. And how can I say something in a kinder way, or whatever the case might be? Or is my message not clear? How can I make my message clearer, so that people are hearing me, they're understanding me, they're grasping what I'm trying to say? So instead of thinking, oh my gosh, Mercury's retrograde again, and everybody has this negative view of this Mercury where he's like, don't shoot the messenger.
There you go.
Right? Exactly. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just the messenger here trying to tell you something. Um,
Exactly.
so, it's to take that time to really just reevaluate different aspects or how you're thinking about something. And if you can think about something in a new way, that'll be more effective.
I love that. That is a much more positive way of looking at it. And it's communication. So it just so
Mhm.
happens that communication is all technological now. Maybe in past times it wasn't, but so that's why it always seems to hit the technology.
Mhm.
Awesome. Um, how can people find out more about you and where to get their astrological natal chart done?
So they can find me at my website. It's called solsticemoon.com, but it's spelled Soulstice. And they're more than welcome to have a reading with me if you want to get to know me a little bit better. I hold a new moon, new me workshop once a month,
Hmm.
before, if you decide you want to work with me and have your astrological chart read. I always help people to look at making new moon intentions that are effective for their own personal chart based on whatever new moon is occurring this month, and help them navigate through that area and being able to create new in their life and use the energy more effectively to plant those seeds for what they want to manifest.
Awesome.
So yeah, they can find me there. Also, like I said earlier, if you want to just check out your natal chart and print it out on your own, you can go to astro.com and put in your birth details so that you can see what it looks like if you've never seen it before.
Mhm.
So
Fantastic. Well, I have to say I'd highly recommend having Tara do the natal chart because you can print one out, but interpreting it is another situation. And it was just very enlightening when I did it, and I highly recommend it. So thank you for that.
thank you so
And
much.
thank you for being here. This has been fantastic. I love talking about this stuff, and I learned a heck of a lot.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure.
Fantastic. And we will talk to you again soon, okay?
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye for now, Tara.